Hello, welcome. Paul Bennett
Hi,
from
Hope.
Cicero Learning. It's a
Hi,
pleasure to
Hope.
see you.
Good to see you as well.
And where are you in the world right now?
I'm in Cape Town, South Africa.
Amazing. And you are living on a boat, right?
I am living on a sailboat. Yes, been sailing around the world for, well, it's a pretty slow trip for the last 9 years.
That is a slow trip. And you're not alone
Big
sailing
world.
around the world, right?
No, I have three daughters and my wife, Lonnie, although my oldest daughter has since gone off to university, college. But I have two others I'm holding on to tightly.
Hold on. Well, I wanted to dive into a quick spotlight on something you're doing within the work that you're focused on. And the work you're focused on, Cicero Learning, is something near and dear to me and my family. Our daughter Sophia is engaged in her one-on-one tutoring with your company. I wonder if you could just share a high level of what Cicero Learning is doing, and we could dive into the topic that I'm so keen to explore with you.
Sure. So Cicero, as you know, we organize one-on-one courses for middle schoolers and high schoolers. And we have a few elementary schoolers as well, but it works really well for middle schoolers and high schoolers. And it's different than what you might think of as traditional tutoring, where a teacher comes along or a tutor comes along and helps you with your school. This is school. So we design courses for kids, with kids, and their parents, and then run them over a semester or a year. So it's highly customized one-on-one school.
Yeah, I actually wanted to just pull out one very important highlight, which is for kids with kids. And that was something we've never encountered before anywhere, is really the collaboration and co-creation with the tutors that you have in your, in your Cicero Learning group. It's really cool to see kids dive in, and they're a bit tentative at first, but then being given the opportunity to co-create and plan and execute is, I think, where the magic happens.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Kids, I mean, all of us need agency. We need a sense that, we are in the world and we can make something happen. I think it's something that's really missing from traditional school. Kids just sort of show up and are told what to do. And, that might be one of the reasons why so many kids get turned off of school and turned off of learning. But when you flip it, and the kids are really owning the path forward, it's a whole different model. And a lot of our teachers just consider themselves co-learners. They're there to sort of queue up and set things up in the environment, but it's really often student led.
Yeah, they're owning their own learning, which I love.
Yeah.
I want today to focus on agency. And I noted, because I'm an avid follower of your newsletter, that you have launched a new course on Cicero Learning around executive functioning for students. I work, as you know, with grown-ups, and we often talk about agency and executive functioning. How do we organize, manage our time, understand how to best utilize some of our best skills in a way that feels not stressy, but we manage to get results or outcomes. So I think about that with grown-ups. And when I saw your course for teens, I thought, oh my goodness, this is so cool. I'd love you to tell me, where this came about and a little bit more about this new course on executive functioning for teens.
Sure. Well, it came about largely because of demand, right? So our model, there's a couple of unique things about it. One of which is that kids need to learn how to be self-directed. Their courses are one-on-one, but they're also remote. And so much of the week, the student has to, wake herself up and plan her day and make sure that she gets her work done. There's not a bell that's kind of leading her from class to class. So we had a couple of parents say, look, we love this model, but we could really use some support around helping our children learn these skills. We call them executive functioning skills. Back in the day, we might have called them study skills, but it's, how to plan your time, how to use a calendar, how to keep on top of your appointments. In many ways, their relationship in Cicero with their teachers is a kind of quasi-professional one. Someone's owning an appointment. Someone has to make sure the Zoom is there. They have to show up on Zoom, all of these kinds of things. So it sort of began there with, hey, can we get some support for these essential skills, essential life skills in life, also essential to this model. And so we put it out to the various teachers, and we had this one teacher in Canada, in Toronto, named Michael Alex, who's done a lot of this. Actually, he has been teaching for a long time in a school for kids who are involved in the arts or in sports, and they can't go to school, in a normal school. So he's been doing remote schooling since long before it was cool. And he began developing exactly this course, how to help kids with their executive functioning. And what he learned in doing that course was that EF, for short, is super important. There's lots of hacks that we can work on with kids, but what often is missing is also a focus on wellness. That kids are oftentimes not functioning really well and on top of their work because they have other things going on, stresses, anxieties, and of course, we're talking about this all the time these days. This stuff, the anxiety and the worries and the trauma that kids are feeling these days are enhanced by the world we live in.
Needing to close the gap. That says it all.
Exactly, right? So Michael really, draws a connection between these two things. Like if we're going to work on making ourselves, more efficient and optimizing our work and getting organized, we also need to work on calming ourselves down, centering ourselves, and figuring out how does my brain work? So he came up with this course, and now we have a couple of other teachers who are teaching it, and we have a couple of students doing it. And I love it. So it begins with a bit of neuroscience, actually. Each teacher teaches it differently, but in general, the idea is let's start by just figuring out how this thing at the top of our necks works. So there's basic, neuroscience and cognitive science around, hormones, sleep, energy, perception. And then Michael in particular, he's a trained yoga teacher and has done advanced yoga study. So he also brings in other traditions, so Taoism and Hinduism and different theories of the mind and how to optimize ourselves, and then eventually works into breathing and meditation. Now, it depends on the student, right? If the student's really open to this and excited, then they go down that path. And a lot of that wellness work then leads to to executive function, and it provides a real groundwork for success with habit building and being on top of your work.
Wow. I feel like everybody needs to take a course like this.
Right.
A question I have for you, and this is a bit of a debate I've been having with education innovators or parent support advocates around the idea of hacking our kids or intensive parenting, where we're trying to optimize our kids' learning in a way that feels like we're trying to relieve the pressure, but there's more pressure being added. So even with the title Executive Functioning, is this course being highlighted by parents who say, hey, Johnny, hey, Sophia, you need executive functioning training. You need to take this course. Or is it coming from some of the students saying, you know what, Mom, I recognize I need more agency. I need more tools in my toolbox. Help me find a course on this. How is the flow coming to you?
It depends, and like with everything, right? Most of our, you know, phone calls and emails are not from students saying, "Hey, I
Right.
need to do school." It's parents saying, "Hey, my child needs to do school." But nothing gets done without a kid's buy-in, right? So a parent who rings us up and says, "Hey, I want to get this executive function. I want to optimize my kid, and I want to buy this executive function course for her." That's going to fail miserably if the student's like, I don't want to be involved in this, right? And same is true for a maths class or ELA
Yeah.
or Spanish or whatever, right? So that's the trick, is getting buy-in from the student and talking on the student's level about, well, why would you take this class? Do you see that you have, if there's a problem, like, do you see that you have issues with organization and things? And 9 times out of 10, kids do, right? They're
Right.
stressed and they're like, I can't, and they say all the things that we say as adults. I can't get my work done. I feel like I'm going a million miles an hour.
What is this all for anyways?
Right, exactly.
Well, these are real school skills for life that aren't taught in school. So
exactly, yeah,
yeah,
and
I was just wanted to just
sorry.
before you go on, I wanted to put a pin in when you say Cicero Learning sort of gives context to kids. What you guys do is you set kids up with interviews with their teachers where they do get that buy-in. Maybe the parents bring them to you, but when we connected Sophia, for example, to math or science,
Yeah.
she has a one-on-one interview with the teacher and the rapport already starts, which is so beautiful. I just didn't want to miss that because I feel like it might start with the parents, but really you drive the kid and the teacher together as quickly as possible.
Yeah. From the get-go, that's where the work is happening. It's a collaboration between student and teacher. Absolutely. And this thing also about hacking our kids and optimizing our kids. Partly it's a language problem, right? We shouldn't be using those terms, because they come out of our worlds, our screwed up adult worlds. But they're the terms we have, and what they signify is a real issue. I mean, we all do want to be more effective at our work. If we're going to be working, we want to work well, and be fulfilled by our work and have traction, not distraction, and all of these kinds of things. So it's, we've had some pretty rigorous conversations about the language that we use. And we have a whole bunch of teachers in Cicero who are like, I hate the term executive function. In fact, one of our teachers who teaches executive function doesn't use the term. He likes the good old-fashioned study habits term. But what he really is focused on, again, is this idea of finding balance in life, getting to a place where you're really you have agency, you have traction in the work, and you feel good about it. And whether you get there through, through hacks, doing maybe those sort of wellness hacks like breathing and whatnot and sleep, or maybe they're hacks that are more tactical EF hacks like using your calendar and list making and checklists and this kind of stuff.
Right. And Paul, how long is this course? Is this a semester long course, or is this a super short sort of dip your toe in? How does it work for people who are interested?
Yeah, you're gonna hate me because all my responses are depends, right? Since our courses are custom built for the student, for the family, it really does depend. Our sweet spot is doing a semester long full credit course, meaning you would meet with your wellness and executive function teacher once or twice a week for an hour and a half, and you'd have 2 to 4 hours of homework, and it would be, from our perspective, a full credit course, and it would last all semester.
And it's credited by the U.S. Like, how do they get a credit for it?
So we're not an accredited institution, but we consider it a full credit, meaning its course load is the same as a math class or
Got it.
or an ELA class. So if you're a homeschooler and you're building your own transcript, you wouldn't say, hey, this is a side activity, because the work that's going into it is the same as the rest of your course load, and
Right.
you would take it like any other course. So if you're doing a 5-course load, this would be one of them, or 6. Or some crazy kids that we all know are doing 7-course loads this fall.
Your daughter.
Crazy.
That's wild, and she's choosing to do all this, which is amazing. Every kid is different. I wanted to, before we hop off, and I pass people your way for this really cool, and I also don't like executive functioning. The way I pitch it or spin it to kids is getting in the driver's seat of your life, starting now to build that toolbox. And it's customizable. As you said, it depends. You're flexible enough, agile enough with this group of teachers to really make it flexible for the students that come to you. You had an amazing book recommendation, and you're using this as part of your executive functioning. And could you just give us a quick high level of why you picked it? Because I've already bought the book, and I think other parents might be interested.
Yes, it's the title. The exact title is gonna escape me, but it's the textbook that's used in the course, and it's basically like 41 horrible habits that you never want to have in life, or something like that. You probably have the exact title there.
Oh, there was one called Brainstorm, and I'll put the title down.
Brainstorm. Okay,
below about understanding teens' brains, and I thought it was so cool. I bought it. I think that the more understanding we have, so that we can put courses like this or tool development skills in front of our kids, the better. So I'm so thankful for the work you're doing, Paul, and your team, and your teachers. How do people find you? How do they hop on and learn more about what you're offering with Cicero Learning?
They can come to our website, which is just cicerolearning.com, and we're on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and all those places as well.
Awesome. Well, I will put all of the links below and the books that you recommended. And I can't wait to actually hear the stories of the kids who take this. I think that would be really interesting. That would get other kids on board for sure.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, enjoy Cape Town. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
Really appreciate it. Thanks for all you do too.